What's up, fam? So, I was asked to do another blueprint video on scaling. Um, Last time we did the 1/8 scale, so today we're going to do the 1/4 scale. I found a print that we can kind of just go over it really quick. I'm just getting off of work. I look tired, but we're going to get through this. Let's go. Okay, so we are going to be scaling off of this print. Y'all, excuse the print, it's wrinkled, it's gone through it, it's been in the field for about a year now. Um, but this is all I had, so we're gonna work off of this. This is a lighting print for one of the buildings we were doing. As you can see, 1/4 equals 1 foot, and we're going to just demonstrate. Well, I'm gonna demonstrate, just going from light to light and see what we get. As you can see, this print has no hard measurements on it. So we would have to scale something like this. If you looked at your reflective ceiling plan and you don't see a hard measurement, a lot of times that means you're going to have to scale this yourself. So let's get into this. Let's go. Okay, so as always, let's go over some fundamentals. Because, for me, we have to go over fundamentals. We know that 1 foot equals 12 inches. And half of 1 foot is 6 inches, right? Everyone's following? Great. Okay, on the scale, we see that this side says 1/4. And if we go all the way to the other end, this side says 1/8. So the smaller numbers that you're going to see, these smaller dash marks, 4, 8, all these little dash marks, those are for the 1/8 scale. But if we come down here, we see that the bigger dash marks, 0, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, those are for the 1/4 scale. So please keep that in mind when you're scaling. You don't want to mix them up. I have done that. Don't do that. Okay, so the bigger dash marks are for the 1/4 scale. The smaller ones are for the 1/8 scale. All right, cool. So let's go back to our fundamentals. 12 inches is equal to 1 foot. Half of 12 inches is 6 inches. So that is what we're going to focus on. So if we look from this 0 to the end of this mark, that is showing us that this right here is equaling 12 inches, which is also 1 foot. All right, so moving forward, if we find the half mark, I always look for the half mark after I've identified my entire scale. So from 0 to this line is my entire scale. That is 1 foot. We already said that half of a foot is 6 inches. So we're gonna go zoom in for me. There we go. Half of this, which is this line right there, is 6 inches. Okay, so from the 0 to this middle mark is 6 inches. From this middle mark to the end is another 6 inches. 6 plus 6 equals 12. 12 inches is 1 foot. Okay, so now that we've identified what half of a foot is, we can now break that down even further. We see that from this 0 to this other longer line right here. Can y'all see that right there? I'm trying to point to it. Okay, so from 0 to this middle mark is 6 inches. Half of 6 is what? 3. So we can tell that this line right here is the center mark between 0 and 6 inches. So half of 6 is 3. So from 0 to this longer line right here is 3 inches. So if we count our marks from that 0 to that 3, how many marks do we have? Let's count together. 1, 2, 3. There's exactly 3 lines from that 0 to that mark right there. And we already said to that mark is 3 inches. So if we have exactly 3 lines to get to 3 inches, that's telling me that each line is worth 1 inch. So if each line is worth 1 inch, let's see if we can get to the 6 inches by just counting each line as an inch. I hope you're following me. So 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, let's keep going. 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So we know on the 1/4 scale that every line is worth 1 inch. Okay, so I'm going to bring out my whiteboard now before we actually go to the print to show you, but very quickly so you can understand. So from 0 to the longer line in the center, we said this was our 6 inches. And from the 0 to the end, we said this was our 12 inches. 12 inches equals 1 foot. Okay, so now we've broken up this section. So from 0 to the middle is 6 inches. But if we find the half mark in between this, that is our 3 inches, because half of 6 is 3 inches. So when we look at this, we count how many marks we have until we get to those 3 inches. So we have 1, 2, 3. So this is telling me that each line is equal to 1 inch. 1 plus 1 plus 1 equals 3, plus 1 plus 1 plus 1 equals 6, and so forth. I just blew it up so you can see it on a larger scale. All right, I really hope that makes sense. We're gonna now go to the print. Okay, so now that we're looking at the print, I just went ahead and put my scale where it needs to go. But these are lights that are in the ceiling, and I put this light, started it on the 0, the center of the light. I always start in the center. And then I went ahead and lined it up with the second light that's in the center. So let's count and see how far apart these lights are from each other. So we have 0. Remember, the bigger dash marks are for the 1/4 scale. The smaller ones are for the 1/8. So we have 0, 1, 2 feet, 3 feet, 4 feet, and 5 feet. So these lights are 5 feet apart from each other. In some cases, you will not have perfectly aligned lights. So what I mean by that is your light may hit what is considered to me a dead zone. It doesn't land on a dash mark. And these lights all land on a dash mark exactly. So I had to draw a dot to kind of show my example, which is fine. So we know that these lights, we've already seen that they're 5 feet apart, center to center. But like I said, that's not always the case. So we'll act like this dot that I made is the center of a light. As you can see, this dot is actually landing on what I would consider a dead zone. It's not hitting a line. So it's not exactly on 7 feet, but it is more than 6 feet. But what do we do when we're in situations like this? We have to measure down to the inch. So I'm gonna slide my scale to where it hits a whole number, the closest whole number that's not exceeding it. So 7 feet would have exceeded it. It didn't get exactly to 7 feet. So it's 6 feet and some change. We just have to figure it out. So I slid it to 6 feet, the center. And now we see that the center of the first light is now hitting some type of inch. Now we've already gone over the fundamentals and we've already talked that each dash mark is equal to 1 inch. So if we know that, let me zoom in. We can see that this line is kind of, remember I drew in this dot, so we can say that it's about on 10 inches. If you count over from the 0, let me see if I can get this to focus. If you count from the 0 and count to where the line is hitting the center of this light, you will see that it's over 10 dash marks, and each dash mark is worth 1 inch. So from the center of this dot, which is the dot I drew, to the center of this light, that is exactly 6 feet, 10 inches. I really hope that helped you guys. If there's any particular scale that you want me to go over, just drop it below in the comments. I will most definitely do that for you. And just remember, as I'm learning, you guys are learning too, because I'm sharing my entire journey. Follow my YouTube, Beyond the Hard Hat.